When a long time had passed and my daughter did not come out of the room, I was compelled to go to her room myself. But seeing the scene in front of me, I was stunned. When I looked at my daughter's pillow, my eyes were left wide open in shock. I could never have imagined that my daughter would hide such a big thing from me. But at that moment, McKenna's sister was calling me, so I stayed silent. I did not ask my daughter any questions. My daughter was getting ready in the bathroom connected to the room. After a little while, she came out and she was wearing a very elegant outfit. Seeing this, I became very worried. Naturally, the first thought that came to my mind was that I had never bought these clothes for my daughter. These were new clothes, neither had I seen them before, nor had my daughter ever requested them. It seemed as though someone else had given her these clothes. But my sister-in-law did not seem to care about this at all, and began showering my daughter with blessings. She said, "MashaAllah, your daughter is very beautiful. May Allah protect her from the evil eye." Saying this, she laughed. I did not understand what she meant, and after a little while she got up and left. I then lashed out at my daughter. I asked her, "Where did you get these clothes from? I didn't buy these clothes for you." She replied, "Mom, you are unbelievable. I go to the seminary, and I have a very wealthy friend. I already told you about Ada, didn't I? On my birthday a few days ago, she gave me these clothes as a gift." I responded, "Fine, but you could have at least told me. What would have happened if I had asked you about them in front of McKenna's sister?" At this, my daughter lightly nudged me and said, "Mum, McKenna auntie isn't as bad as you've made her out to be. She understands all of our difficult situations." Hearing my daughter's words, I decided not to get angrier. I quietly went back to being busy with my chores. But then, something strange happened. That day, my daughter didn't say anything about going to the seminary. Instead, she stayed at home saying, "I am very tired today and want to rest." My daughter never did any household work because she always said she was tired. This made me suspicious. Why? Was she always so tired? In the morning when she woke up, her condition seemed unusual. The same thing happened the next day. She slept until 10 o'clock in the morning, but when she used to go to the seminary, she would wake up at 5 a.m. Now. She had completely changed her routine. She would stay up late at night and wake up late in the morning. I didn't ask my daughter any questions. But one day, when she woke up in the morning, she was limping just like before. When she came outside, Rashida Dai, midwife, was also sitting there. Rashida Dai had come to ask me something. In the past, we had worked together, but then I left that work and she progressed further in it. Today, she had come to ask me about some herbal remedy. When her gaze fell on my daughter, she covered her mouth with her hand in shock. She said, "Daughter, bring me some water." I understood that she wanted to talk to me alone. I gestured to my daughter, and she went into the room. Rashida Dai then said to me, "Amna, how can you as a mother be so careless about your daughter? Don't you see your daughter's condition? Shouldn't you think about her? She's a young girl. You need to keep an eye on her every move and step. God forbid, if something happens tomorrow, who will you blame? Whose hands will you search for blood on? Look at your daughter. What does she do? Where does she go? Why is she in this state already? She started behaving like married women do. Look at her clothes, her way of walking. Then look her in the eyes. You'll notice a strange boldness in them. There's something very odd about your daughter's eyes." Rashida Dai's words shook me. She was a perceptive woman, and just by looking at someone's gait, she could tell whether they had a relationship with someone or not. What she said about my daughter, in veiled words, made the ground beneath my feet slip away. I decided right then that I would keep a close watch on my daughter, day and night. Wherever she went, I would follow her and see what she was doing. The next morning, when my daughter woke up, her condition was the same. She was in a very bad state. She said, "Abeba, my whole body is aching. Please massage me with oil." I said, "All right, I'll get some warm oil." When I entered my daughter's room, she thought for a moment and then refused my offer to massage her. She said, "Abeba, leave it. My pain is gone. Don't massage me. Just go away from here. Seeing the anxiety on my daughter's face, I understood that she didn't want to reveal her body to me. Surely, she felt some threat from me that I might notice or figure something out. That's why she was hiding so much from me. But my daughter was unmarried, and she didn't have any relationships with anyone. Then how could it be possible that she was behaving like a married woman? I remembered Rashida Dai's words, "Keep an eye on your daughter." I said to my daughter, "Tonight, I will sleep in your room, so keep the door open." Hearing this, she frowned and replied, "All right." But when I returned to her room after completing my tasks a couple of hours later, I saw that she had locked the door from the inside. I was very surprised and also angry. I knocked on the door, but she didn't open it. She had fallen asleep. Now I was furious and my suspicions grew stronger. How could parents think positively about a young, unmarried daughter who locks her room without reason? Anyway, I got busy with my work, but in the morning, my daughter's condition was the same again. I said to her, "Today, I will go with you to your seminary." For some time now, my daughter had chosen to go to the seminary around 1 or 2 in the afternoon. Unlike before, she no longer woke up early in the morning to go, but attended the evening classes instead. I didn't like this behavior, nor did I understand the reason behind it. I decided that instead of sleeping in her room at night, it would be better if I followed her to the seminary first. Who knows if she even went to the seminary or if she was lying to me? That very day, I made up my mind to follow her. At 1 or 2 o'clock, when she left the house wearing a burqa, I wrapped a black shawl around myself and began following her. My daughter was going somewhere else. She wasn't on the road that led to the seminary. Then, my daughter hailed a rickshaw. She stopped the rickshaw, paid the driver, and then sat in it to head to the seminary. I was surprised where did my daughter get so much money that she could pay the rickshaw driver. I had never given her any money to spend on herself. Today, my daughter was wearing a very nice outfit, and she had even paid the rickshaw fare. I had no choice but to stop another rickshaw and follow her. I got into a rickshaw, and fortunately, the driver was someone we knew. I hadn't brought any money with me when I left the house, but he kindly took me to the seminary for free. By God's grace, my daughter had indeed gone to the seminary and nowhere else. In front of the seminary, she stopped the rickshaw and went inside. I followed her closely. I saw that she was heading to her class, and I was astonished. I thought to myself, so far, I haven't found anything suspicious. Maybe if I speak to her teacher, they might give me a clue about something. I went to the staff room, which was near the principal's office. There was only one teacher sitting there. Her name was Dania. I had known her for quite some time. I asked her, "Do you still teach Wisma?" She replied, "No, Wisma used to study in the morning shift, so I used to teach her, but now she studies in the evening shift, and I don't get to interact with her anymore." Then she added, "But I want to tell you something." Hearing this, I became very attentive. I said, "I've come to the seminary precisely to hear something. I want to know if my daughter is involved with someone outside the family. She hasn't done anything inappropriate, has she? You know my daughter very well. I can't talk about this with anyone else because it's a matter of my daughter's honor. My daughter hasn't done anything wrong, but still, as her mother, I am very worried. Naturally, I want to have every bit of information about my daughter. Please tell me, what do you know about her?" Hearing my words, she became concerned and said, "I can only tell you one thing. MashaAllah, your daughter doesn't do anything inappropriate at the seminary, but for some time now, I've noticed a strange change in her. She often looks sleep-deprived, as if she doesn't get enough rest at home. She limps when she walks and complains about her whole body aching. She says she's sick and asks for leave. But earlier, your daughter used to attend the seminary very regularly. As far as the seminary is concerned, we have a very strict environment. We don't allow girls to leave the premises. If a girl stops coming to the seminary without informing us, we immediately notify her parents that their daughter didn't attend that day. Your daughter doesn't do anything here that would cause you concern, but you should watch her at home, see what she does and how she behaves there." And yes, you should start sleeping in her room with her at night. I feel like she doesn't sleep at night. Do you sleep in her room? I shook my head in denial and said, no, my daughter has a separate room. She says she's grown up now and needs her own space to keep her belongings. That's why she wanted to sleep in a separate room. So we gave her one. Hearing this, Bisma Madam held her head in her hands and said, Abebaji, at this age, girls shouldn't be given separate rooms. Parents should stay close to them and keep an eye on their every move. That way, they don't do anything that brings shame to their parents' honor. Hearing her words, I trembled. I began thinking in detail about my daughter. I had come to terms with everything, but what Bisma Ustani had told me was also worth considering. I remembered the scene of the pillow when I had opened my daughter's room. There were 5,000 rupee notes lying there. But even at that time, I couldn't understand where my daughter had gotten so much money from, especially since I didn't give her even a single rupee at home. And yet, she had somehow started becoming wealthy on her own. When I got home, countless questions had started swirling in my mind. I began wondering where my daughter had gotten this money from and what activities she was involved in. However, I couldn't address this directly with her. The night passed, and when morning came, seeing my daughter in the same condition once again, I made a firm decision I would stay with my daughter the entire day and sleep with her in her room at night. So, that's exactly what I did. After my daughter returned from the seminary, I completed all my chores and freed myself. I then went to her room on the pretext of cleaning. I thought that by cleaning her room, I might find another clue. As soon as I entered her room, my daughter looked at me in shock and said, "What's the matter, Abiba? Do you need something?" I replied, "I don't need anything, but it's been quite a while since I've cleaned your room. I want to clean it today." Bisma stood up immediately and said, "Abiba, have you reduced yourself to doing such chores now? Will you clean my room? Please sit down. I'll clean it myself right here in front of you. If you think I leave my room dirty, then that's not the case." Saying this, Bisma took the broom and other cleaning items from my hands, made me sit on the bed, and started cleaning herself. My eyes were scanning the room. I was looking around and saw brand new clothes. I got up and opened Bisma's wardrobe. She immediately rushed to me in alarm and said, "Mum, what do you need?" I brushed her aside and said, "What's with all this, Mum? This is my daughter's room, can't I look at what's inside?" I opened the wardrobe and inside were brand new clothes hanging. Seeing the clothes, I was stunned. I remembered Dania Ustani's words, who had said, "Your daughter doesn't even have any friends, let alone someone who would gift her clothes. She hardly talks to anyone and has become very quiet these days." The birthday story my daughter had told me was a lie. She had said that a friend had gifted her clothes, but there was no such thing. Now I realized that my daughter had been lying to me. Even then, my daughter had hidden something under her pillow. I lifted the pillow and found makeup items hidden underneath. My daughter's face turned pale. I asked her, "Where did all this come from?" She replied, "Abiba, you'll get angry. Actually, I tutor children, take money from them, and then buy these kinds of things. And all these clothes are second-hand. This makeup isn't even that expensive." "Abiba, it's just that I like these things." "You know that I only go to the seminary and come home in the evening. I don't do anything else that makes me happy. I don't even go out to play or hang out with other girls. Abeba, you should trust me. But the way you look at me with suspicion, it's as if I've done something terrible. What have I stolen? I haven't taken anything from you." I said, "All right, fine. Tonight, I'll sleep in your room. Your room seems very comfortable." Hearing this, she became extremely anxious and said, "Abiba, I am used to sleeping alone. I stay up very late at night." "What will you do here?" I replied, "No, I am going to sleep here no matter what. Tonight, I am staying in this room." My daughter said, "All right, you can sleep here. You must be tired. I'll bring you some milk." My daughter went to the kitchen. When she came back, she was holding a glass of milk in her hand. I asked, "What is this?" She said, "You must drink it, you are tired." On her insistence, I drank the glass of milk. But after that, I fell into a deep sleep. When I woke up, I didn't realize that 6 or 7 hours had passed. I was very angry because the reason I had slept in my daughter's room was to keep watch over her during the night, but she had put me to sleep by giving me the milk. When I woke up, she was sitting right in front of me. She was wearing bright white shiny clothes. Seeing her appearance, I was astonished. I asked her, "Daughter, how did you get so ready so early in the morning?" She replied, "Abeba, it's in the morning that one gets ready. Besides, today is the blessed day of Jummah, Friday. I thought I'd get ready, wear clean and tidy clothes, and make Allah happy. People like us rarely get a chance to please him." I said, "Why are you saying this? What do you mean?" "Daughter, you go to the seminary, you study, and you are gaining knowledge of the Quran. Then why are you talking like this? What sin have you committed?" My daughter fell silent. There was deep sadness in her eyes. Then she said something that left me utterly shocked. "Abeba, find a good boy for me and get me married. I'll even prepare my dowry myself. I'll teach children and save up for it. I'll save every penny for the expenses. But please don't think of me as a burden like your other daughters. The atmosphere in our house is already bad, and I don't want things to get worse because of me." Hearing this from my daughter, my suspicion about her deepened. My daughter, at such a young age, was talking about marriage. There was no shyness or modesty in her tone. She was speaking in a very bold manner. I was extremely disturbed the entire day. That very day, my sister-in-law Makena came over again. She was carrying several sets of clothes in her hands. I asked, "What is this? Why have you come here?" She replied, "I've come to ask for your daughter's hand in marriage for Furkan." I said, "Are you in your senses? Furkan, your son, has such a bad reputation, and you want me to marry my daughter to him?" Let me tell you about my sister-in-law. When she got married, she was married into a family that worked in dance and entertainment. They had always been associated with such activities. Makena had said at the time that, for her sake, her husband would leave this work. But a few years after their marriage, we found out that Makena's husband had resumed his work and had even involved Makena in it. Hearing this had caused us great distress. We didn't want to stay in touch with Makena, but somehow she managed to maintain contact with us and started visiting our house. And now she had come with a proposal for her son Furkan for my daughter. I found this very strange. Makena had never had the audacity before to ask for a marriage proposal from our family, but today she was standing boldly on my doorstep, demanding my daughter's hand in marriage. I asked her, "Why are you doing all this?" She said, "Because your daughter is like us. She works with us. I take her with me every night. She dances for hours. What do you think? That I'll let this go unnoticed? Do you think I'll just leave you alone like this? I've taken my full revenge. Do you remember, in the early days of my marriage, how you called me a dancer and insulted me with all sorts of words? Now you understand how it feels when people you love are associated with something unacceptable, something you disapprove of. That pain, yes, I felt it too, when you opposed my marriage. Now, quietly agree to your daughter's marriage with Furkan, or things will get very bad for you. You will never be able to live with your head held high again. My Furkan is willing to accept your daughter no way won't later." Hearing this, I felt regret, grief, helplessness. So many emotions flooded me, but at this point, I had no choice but to agree with Makena's words. Because when one's own daughters are stained, there's no point in blaming others. This incident serves as a huge lesson for all parents. To all parents, we humbly request, handle your growing children with softness and understanding. Keep an eye on their matters and be their friend. Find out what's on their minds so that such calamities can be avoided in time. Friends, I hope you liked today's story. Please share it with your friends and family, like the video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.